Hello lovelies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing fine. I'm doing fine myself. If you're new here, my name is Caroline. I want to thank everybody who subscribed so far. It's so amazing. I love the positive vibe that I'm getting. People DMing me and telling me they love the videos so far. I love you, love you, love you, and I'm looking forward to growing this beautiful family that I've started here on YouTube. And well, if you haven't subscribed, please do consider subscribing, sharing, and liking, commenting on in any of my videos, and I'll appreciate it so much. So in today's video, I'll be sharing my story on how I found out that I was pregnant. It's pretty interesting, and so yeah, keep watching. So this story began in January of this year 2020. So in January, I'm a nurse. I was working in Alaska. So I'll be there over the week, and then over the weekend I'll be here in Washington. And at this point, I was with my husband. We were talking about starting a family, getting married, having kids, so all the cool stuff. So one of the weekends that I was coming to back to Washington, I managed to call a clinic and book an appointment for physical checkups, all that kind of stuff, and in that also consult on birth control options available for me, and I'll pick one if I was comfortable. So the day came, my now husband took me to the doctor's office, so we drove there, and on our way there we were just making fun, we were just laughing, we were saying, okay, what if I'm pregnant, what if yeah, just making fun. And then so we go to the doctor's office, so they just do the regular things they do. They take the vitals, measure your weight, height, and all that. So after that, I started talking to the doctor about my options. She started telling me about the things that are available, the things I'll use, if I was comfortable with them. So I settled on one birth control option. And so, as you know, when before any procedure is done, in terms of birth control, they have to test pregnancy. So I was like, okay, let's do this. And now that I was comfortable with one birth control option that was given to me, so as I was waiting there, then a nurse comes in, tells me, okay, this is what you have to do, and then we're gonna take your pregnancy test, and then we'll get it going from there. So that's what I did. So the nurse and the doctor left, and I had to wait a few minutes for the results, and then they'll come in and start the procedure. So as I was seated there, I was just seated there waiting for like the doctor to come tell me, okay, let's get it going. So the doctor comes in with her laptop, just typing stuff, and then she comes in and she's like, okay, here's the thing, we're not gonna do the birth control today because you're pregnant. So I couldn't. I just sat there not saying a word. I was just looking at her, and I think she saw how shocked I was. I remember her. She told me to wait in the room, and she walked out of the room and came back with another doctor, a male doctor, and I think it's doctor or counselor. I don't remember that well, but so the doctor comes in, they're like, okay, you're pregnant, nah, 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 but there are options for you. I was like, okay, okay, okay. So they looked at me and they just gave me a glass of water first. And then, so since my husband was outside, I called him in and I told him, well, I told the doctors, can you guys give us a minute? We need to talk. I was like, so I told my husband, guess what? I'm pregnant. And he just looked at me really calm, and I was like, yeah, I was wondering why he's so calm, and I wasn't like, I wanted him to be like surprised as me or shocked or scared, but I didn't see any of that. So I was like, okay, this is it. So let's deal with what's here. So the doctor comes back, and then so he's like, okay, we have some options for you. So the first option was since they found I was pregnant really early on the early stages of my pregnancy. So he was like, well, here's what we can do. We can stop the, I think he said fertilization or something like that. We can give you a pill and then you're going to take it and then it's just going to start the process immediately. And I was like, okay, that's one. And then the second one was adoption. Just get the baby and give the baby up for adoption. So I looked at the doctor. I was like, are you crazy? I don't understand all this. So I remember just getting up and telling the doctor that I was so overwhelmed with all the information he was giving me. So I needed to go home and think through what he was saying because nothing made sense at that point. Like they were trying to tell me things. I was like, okay, I don't understand. And I started walking around the room. I was really confused and scared. And I think being told you're pregnant, it doesn't matter if you have somebody close to you, even next to you, or even like you're having support, you're getting support from them. There's that 1 minute that you get crazy for everyone, and that to me was mine. And I was really really scared. And so the doctors told me, okay, these are the options. Or and then the other option was make appointments, so schedule appointments to be seen through my pregnancy. So it was like, okay, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. I never made the appointments. At that point I didn't do anything. I just told them that I needed to go. So after I told the doctors how overwhelmed I am, and that I needed time to think so that I can come up with a better decision, to make a decision when I'm sober and thinking straight. So we left. And I remember that morning, it was like around 8 o'clock. We went very early in the morning to that appointment because my husband was taking me to the appointment, then dropping me off home, and then he'll go to work that same morning because I couldn't. Well, I was really tired to drive because I had arrived the previous night from Alaska, so I was jet lagged. So that's why he drove me there. And then so he dropped me off at home. So when my husband dropped me off at home, I was still in denial. There was so many things running through my head. I became so overwhelmed. I was thinking about so many things at once. It was way too early in my pregnancy for me to even start like thinking about other things, you know. So I started thinking about baby. I started thinking about like I'm pregnant. It was just too much information going through from the doctor. I'm thinking about so many things. I'm thinking about a baby. So I remember I took my car keys and I went to Safeway. So I drove myself to Safeway. I went to the pregnancy kit section. I got one, paid, and then I went to the bathroom at Safeway to test if I was really pregnant, and it came out positive. So I was like, so now later looking back to it, I'm like, yeah, the doctor told me that I was pregnant, and I still needed like to confirm it for myself with a key. And I think the kids at the hospital are even more efficient than these ones. So it came out positive. So I was still in denial. I couldn't believe it. So on leaving Safeway, I remember I grabbed like 5 pregnancy kits, so test kits. So I took them with me, and I did the same thing when I got home. I tested all of them. They came back positive. So the next thing I did, I remember I left home and I went to Target, and I went to Target and I just went on baby section clothing and strollers and all that. And I was like, I think maybe less than a month pregnant. So I get in there and I'm looking at all baby clothes, and I'm like going, okay, this is how big. Yeah, I didn't have an idea of what to do next. So I went to Target. I got some onesies, I got pants, I got sweaters. Yeah, it was so crazy. I did a video on things to expect when someone is pregnant. I did a video on that. I'm gonna leave a link in the description box below. You can watch that. I got home, I was like, okay, so what's gonna happen next? I'm having a baby. Am I gonna raise the baby alone? Am I like, is he gonna help me with this? And so, well, yeah, it was too much. I don't think I slept the entire night, still thinking about what am I gonna do next. I'm in a foreign country. my family is not close and I'm pregnant, and yeah, it was just too much. The next morning I woke up with the hope and the wish that all that was a dream and it was not real. But to my surprise, the pregnancy test kits were still there, and I was like, oh my god, it is true, I'm pregnant for real. So I remember I called the hospital and I told them about my situation. I've done a home test kit and I'm pregnant. I confirmed that I'm pregnant. The doctor also confirmed that I'm pregnant. So what am I supposed to do next? So the nurse told me that I needed to book an appointment. And mind you, at that point, I didn't have insurance. So the nurse was like, okay, if you don't have insurance, the next thing you're gonna, well, the thing, what you need to do is come with $2,000, pay that up front before anything else. And that was like that's the first appointment. The I think 8 weeks appointment. That was the first one. That was a lot of money at that point. But not that I didn't have the money, but it was just a lot to just, because they were just gonna go confirm if I'm pregnant. Nothing else was gonna be done to me. So I was like, okay. So I asked, the nurse was really helpful. So I asked the nurse, what am I supposed to do? Well, she was like, okay, you can apply for insurance right now. So that's what I did. After I hang up with her, I called state insurance, and luckily they approved it. So I got, like, they approved it. It was unbelievable that I got state insurance out of that, and to cover all my expenses, because it was gonna be costly. So after that time went by, I went back to Alaska to work. So when I went there, that's when all the symptoms just kicked in. The food that I loved, I couldn't eat anymore. I loved mashed potatoes. I loved hash browns, eggs. I couldn't eat them anymore, and I started throwing up really bad. And since I was announcing the things I was doing, I started getting so emotional and attached. And at some point, I would cry, and that's something that I had never done before that. Because I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for like 3 years, and it's never like affected me that way, like to that extent. So after my contract was over, I boarded my flight back to Washington, and on the flight, I asked. Immediately I got in the plane. I asked the flight attendant to help me with the bag because I might throw up, and she gave me one bag. Took my seat. But before we took off, she came to me and asked me if I was sick, if there's anything that I needed, and I told her that I'm nauseous. I was nauseous because I was pregnant. So she brought me some really, like, some bags. She was really sweet. She brought me more bags and some candies, some mint candies that to help with the nausea. She also like got me some bottled water. She was really sweet. So I didn't throw up the entire flight, the entire time on air, but I remember when we were landing, that that's when it happened, and it was just I felt so bad about the people that, well, for close to me. But yeah, that's all. Well, the time that I spent in Alaska alone made me have time for myself to think alone, and just to come up with a decision about what I was going to do. Though I knew that the options the doctor had given me previously, well, they didn't appeal to me, and it was not something that I was willing to do. But I was sure about that. But me going and being far from everything else made me have time to think clearly. And by the time I was coming back, I was all set. And so by the time I came back, my insurance card had come, and I called the hospital, booked my first appointment, and we both went there, and it was just amazing. Just the first time listening to her heartbeat was just so great, and it was just amazing. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I'd like to know how you reacted to the first time you're being told you're pregnant, or your partner telling you they were pregnant. And I might do a part 2 on these, reading the responses. People are gonna tell me. Well, you can DM me on Instagram. I'm gonna leave the link below in the description box, or Facebook. I'll do the same too. And I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And for people who are coming into it, or who are planning to get pregnant, get settled down, they'll learn, and it's gonna be fun. Until next time, please subscribe, share, like, and comment. And I'll see you on the next video. Choose.